Anatomy and Clay Center in Denver features hands-on workshop in human and animal anatomy. And these classes allow you to form bones, muscles, nerves, and more with clay on scale models. I've got a little bit of clay here. It's really fun to play with. Dr. Jennifer Hellier, president of the board of directors, is going to tell us a little bit more about this. While I roll some clay, tell us what the Anatomy and Clay Centers is and what it is that you do.
Great, thank you for having us here. We're really excited. We really like to educate students and people across Colorado about anatomy, and so that they can better understand who they are and all that goes with it. So we really believe that the way you can learn is by actually using your hands.
Okay, which we're doing right now.
Right.
So roll just a little bit of clay. All right, let's talk about what some of the connections between mental health and physical health before we get started.
Sure. So Anatomy and Clay Centers, we're actually starting a new series, and it's really including mental health with physical health. What we see is that we have students that come and learn about the anatomy, but they're always asking about other things, about the physiology. And what we hear right now, with especially with the holidays coming up, we are seeing a large increase in mental health issues. And so we thought, why not connect the two? And so we've partnered with other people here in Colorado, and we're going to be able to build anatomy and include the mental health aspects to it.
And when you're talking about mental health and we're talking about the holidays and this time, what are those topics that you're teaching in the workshop?
Yeah, so the first one that we're going to be teaching will be here in 2 Saturdays, actually. It's in Loveland, sorry. And we're going to be talking about eating disorders.
Okay.
So we're going to build for this portion the digestive system, and then actually talk about the different eating disorders and how it actually can affect not just the anatomy, but also our mental issues.
That's incredible.
And then in December, we'll be talking about suicide and depression, and then in January, anxiety, and then in February will be the opioid issues that we're seeing.
Wow, and those are very poignant topics right now.
Yes.
Of course they are. And so then let's bring this all together. We've got some clay in our hands. We've got anatomy, a model here of an anatomy.
Yes.
And so then explain to us how that all connects.
Sure. So what we see is that when you're actually using your hands and you are warming up the clay, what we're going to build here is to connect into the digestive system is the heart. The heart actually is the last part where the blood is going to come from the liver back to the heart, so all the good nutrients can go throughout your body.
Okay.
So what I want you to do is to warm it up, and the heart actually has an apex on one side, which actually means a point, and then a base, which is a flat portion up at the top.
Okay.
So when you look at your heart, it's actually kind of like a short carrot.
Oh, interesting.
So we're going to actually place the heart up right in the center of the chest.
I'm trying to catch up to you. We'll get close. Here,
no, that's all right.
Do that little pat.
There you
okay,
go.
So about right here.
Right, and it's in the center of the chest. And a lot of people say that the heart is actually on the left side, but really it's the apex points to the left.
Okay.
But your heart is really right in the center of your chest.
Okay, great. What's next?
Next, what we'll do is actually connect that heart from the liver in my model, but you can also do as well. Okay. So this, we're going to make little tiny veins to get to
pretty tiny
into a nice long skinny snake.
Long skinny snake. While we're doing that, what should participants expect to learn then in these 4 workshops?
Yes, so really understanding about the anatomy piece, and then how that is integrated with mental health. And so when we're talking about how, for example, with our gut, let's say that you aren't feeling well, right? Or you're stressed out. And what actually happens is you might get a real big stomach ache, right? It might turn that stress into an ulcer, and then that you start having that other stress or depression, and how it can really physically change your body, not just the anatomical portion, but also the whole physical body. So for example, when you are stressed out or depressed, we actually physically change our body shape to be kind of more internal, right? And so when you do that, and if you think about it, you might be adding more stress in other areas or causing other damage. So here we can talk about when you're on the happier side, And that's where we actually see this in our GLAD model. So we have two different types of models, and this one is the GLAD model, where you can actually see how when you change your position, how much happier you feel and better about yourself versus in that sad position.
Really makes a lot of sense. So real quickly then, what are the workshops geared toward, and what particular age group are we talking about?
We're talking about anyone. If you want to play with clay from kindergarten on up to 99 years old, that we want you to be there. And we've tried to make it as inexpensive as possible so that entire families can come, because mental health affects not just the person who's having the health issues, but the entire family. And the biggest thing we really want to do is reduce stigma. I think the more that we start talking about it and understanding, the better it is just for our society and for our families in general. Really? So come learn about your anatomy as well as your mental health.
It's great, and it's therapeutic as well.
It
so
is.
Very educational and wonderful information. Thank you, Dr. Halyard. Thank you. Now, the mind cannot forget what the hands have learned. Sign up to attend an upcoming class or workshop at Anatomy and Clay Centers, Denver. Their upcoming series is called Crucial Connections, Mental and Physical Health. For information and class times, go to anatomyandclaycenters.org, or you can call 720-570-0872.